So we're recording now. So welcome everybody. This is a chat with the victorious second 11, Cookstown second 11. We've got Greg Allen on the line. That's Raymond Miller, as you see it. We've got Captain Mark Wilson and Les iPhone. He is the manager. Finally, we've got him on board. So lads, congratulations first and foremost. You are league champions for the first time in a dozen years. Les, how's it feel?
Brilliant. Long time coming. Just brilliant. You know, we laid the basis last season, and this season, as looking at the team, we had already had the basis of a good second 11 team there. Spud, Davy, Wolsey, Johnsy, Dickie, G. Tom, Andy McCorder, Carsey, and Stevie are all good second 11 players. And then we had the likes of Mitch, who decided to commit more time. Quickdraw, fully committed. Example to all the players at training. Bestie committed more time. And Millsy eventually decided to commit to the twos as well. And then Big Ewan, breakthrough season. Great asset, a short corner on him. I think double figures. And the icing on the cake was really Godfrey and Greg coming down from the ones, and those two guys were used like they played at the highest level in Ireland, you know, and that was icing on the cake and just completed the whole team. Plus fringe players like Paul Morrow and Mikey Costello and Mark Cuddy, etc. Like those guys would have made the seconds any other year. It's just we had a great strong team this season and just all blended together. It was brilliant.
Yeah, and Wilsey obviously captaining for the first time. How did you find that? Must have been a big step up.
Yeah, well, it was great, obviously, because of the players that we had at our disposal. That made it, you know, so much easier. And having Les as a coach as well takes a lot of pressure off, especially on a Saturday. You know, but when you're sort of, I was really just in charge of getting the players there and trying to make sure that the players there were able to cover for the mistakes that I made, Gavy, and that was my main role as a captain this year. But having Greg, Bestie, Godfrey, those players that have played ones for so many years, having Millsy as well, Mitchell and stuff, as Les just went through, the players that we had were terrific. So it was a pretty easy job, truth be told, but doesn't mean it was any less enjoyable.
Oh, that's good to hear. See, it was always enjoyable, and obviously from the start when we had a great pre-season, then we went down to Inst, had a sort of special day down in Inst.
Yeah.
Greg, how was it joining the twos from the ones?
Yeah, well, the standard twos is very high this year. I kind of made a decision middle of last season to take a wee bit of a break from the ones and come down to the twos. I think just main factor being Les and Stevie being there. So growing up, the last time I was in team with them two was 15, playing for the fours. So I wasn't going to pass that opportunity. I know there's probably plenty more years to come, but that was definitely something I really wanted to do. So stepping down, playing with that, it's been a great season. I've enjoyed every minute of it.
Brilliant. And Millsy, Raymond, I was sort of said everybody had to use first name, surname, and I forgot. Millsy, obviously you got played that first match in Estonians, and I think it might have been your first card of the season. Talk us through all the cards you got this year.
Gavy, do you know what? There was more than I expected. The worst one, obviously, being in our Irish Junior Cup game.
Oh, you only got one that game. Only got the one that game, did you?
No, I actually got two that game. Gavy, you're making me out to be a really hothead, but just on a couple of occasions, kind of lost my way a wee bit. But no, listen, it's been a brilliant season. Similar to Greg, stepping down to the twos, it was a really good opportunity playing with brilliant players. Thoroughly enjoyed it. For me, it was more a case of wasn't getting into the ones just as much and wanted a bit more playing time, and being able to do that with the twos this year was absolutely class. It didn't feel like as big a step because the standard of players that we had, it was brilliant. Really enjoyed it. Great stuff.
And Les, obviously at the start of the season you suffered a major impact by losing senior player Gavin Butler from the squad. How the heck did you get over that?
Pretty easily, I think, Gavy. There seemed to be no problem at all. We had guys on who actually listened to what I was trying to tell them and tried to do it, implement it.
Is that what my problem was? Okay. But right, well, okay. Let's talk about the coaches alongside you, if you'd like to. Brian Simpson and Richard McLaughlin, talk to us about what they bring to the team.
Well, not umpiring. We asked Schmuck to umpire training for us one night, and he made a decision which was wrong. Someone might have thrown a few expletives his way, and that was it. Toys out of the pram. Our coach was away home during training, so that's what Schmuck brought to the team.
Richard brought the Austrian chocolate balls or something like that, and
Mozart's balls
that he brought to training and told us they're full of energy. Apart from that, Richard, he was there every week, in fairness, him and Schmuck, but Richard brought about 3 pairs of trousers to train, and he kept falling down that hill looking for the shots over the top.
Okay, well, back to the
great, Gavy, just to interrupt, it was great, especially Saturdays home matches. I love it. I live for that, because you come out, we get there 11:45 for a 1 o'clock start, and we're on the pitch with a stick and ball, and you go into the change room for a chat, and Richard's filling out the team sheets, and he's still asking guys their names, etc. And you go out, and Smuck's got all the yellow-coloured balls in a wee circle for the warm-up spud, and then all the orange-coloured balls out for a warm-up, and all the white balls out. It's beautiful. Class.
Symmetry.
So thanks to those guys.
I'm sure. Listen, I'm sure they know that they've been very much appreciated there.
No, seriously, thanks to those guys.
No, Gavy,
those boys, yeah.
I was taking the mick there. They added a massive amount to the squad this year. Yes, a bit of crack, but also having that wee bit of structure and organisation around it. It took a bit of weight off Les's shoulders, and he was able to encourage and coach, and his tactics put in place. So yeah, we really enjoyed having them, and yourself, Les. I haven't officially thanked you yet, but thank you. It's been absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
So let's talk about what has been the big thing that the Twos have brought to the pitch this year. Greg, in your opinion, what was being the sort of style of hockey? Has there been a major change, or has it been more of a personnel thing?
Well, the style of hockey, pretty much when I came in to start the season, it was I'm competitive in every single thing I do. So no matter if you're playing 1s, 2s, 3s, or 4s, give 100%. That was the main thing with the Twos this year. We just didn't lay down ever. The amount of games we were down 1-0, 2-0, we're down 2-0 against Gavy 3s at one point. Especially the 1-0 away to Ban 3s at half time with just McCandless and stuff. They could easily just run that game out. They just didn't lay down. We just knew pretty much we could get a goal at any point. Goal difference throughout the year, it obviously mattered come the end of it. So we weren't a greedy team. We wanted goals, but boys weren't selfish. We were playing the right style of hockey throughout the year. The main thing was training week in, week out, very competitive, and we brought that on to Saturday.
See, that's what it's all about. That's a really good. And we'll see, obviously, looking ahead at some of the younger players that came into the team, Ewan Cruikshank obviously stands out, but there's been a few.
Yeah, no, definitely. If I'm right in saying, maybe those other boys can tell me, I think Max Anderson's first game was for us as well. I think his first game for the club was for us, away to Portadown a friendly or something. That sound right, Des and Greg, maybe Mildy. So yeah, certainly youth was great. Those Ewan, as Les sort of already alluded to, played the majority of our games this year and was a huge asset to have from short corners, and just learned alongside Godfrey and Gavy especially. He was great to have, and then throughout the season we had Mark Cuddy came down and played for us and played very well actually against Northdown. And Northdown, yourself, are quite physical. It was one of those games that Greg had sort of talked about. We were down, the game wasn't even going to go ahead. It was sort of a bit of a mess of a day and Mark came down and he was brilliant. He was very, very good, and I would suggest probably that if we had been playing the rest of the season, he would have got more chances playing. But certainly Ewan was a young one. Max had played a few times for us at the start of the year, and if we're picking out individual performances, his performance in the cup final at Christmas time was superb. Both of them are terrific players as well as Mark. They're all very good, and hopefully moving forward there will be more young players coming through to help us out.
Brilliant. Well, as we've got a forward, a midfielder and a defender here, we may as well go through those sections of the pitch. So Remy and Les, feel free to chime in, but talk to us about the forwards you've had there this year in the Twos.
So probably mostly it was myself, Mitchell and Stevie. up front. But as Wilsey mentioned, Mark Cuddy, Les had mentioned Michael Costello.
Quick draw.
Richard McGaw was in there as well, helping us out. Andy McQuarter. So there's lots of really talented players in that forward line. But I think the most pleasing thing, especially with having Richard McGaw in the front line, is that the goals were shared out. Usually McGaw, when he plays for a team, hogs the goals, but it was really, really pleasing that the goals were shared out as much as they were. And each forward kind of went through phases throughout the season where they were scoring quite a lot. So I know myself and Stevie didn't catch fire for a while. Like, we weren't scoring at all at the start of the year. But Mitchell was scoring during that phase. And then I went through a wee spell in the middle of the season where I was scoring consecutive games. And towards the end of the season, Stevie was really finding his form. So it was good that those three forwards plus other boys like McGaw got a fair amount of goals. Mikesy, when he came in, scored a couple of goals for us. So it was great that the goals were shared out. And one particular game, we played Garvey Threes at home. And a good Garvey Threes team, it was the likes of Ian Davison, Rafs was playing, a few of their young players, up-and-coming young players, and we beat them 9-0, and Mitchell, myself and Stevie all got at least 2. So that was one key game where I thought, you know what, we have a really strong goal-scoring team here, which was great.
Brilliant. Who ended up highest scorer, Les, do you know?
Well, Greg from midfield ended up a highest score, 24, but Mitch Greer at 18, Mulsey there at 17, I think Stevie at 11, and Quickdraw at 9.
So that's impressive.
You know, so we have forwards who can put the ball in the onion bag. It's just a matter of getting it up to them as quick as we can, and we try to use that. And as Mulsey says, the goals were shared out. I have a philosophy of, like, pass the ball into the net. From Greg was no age, he was hearing that from me, and so was Stevie. And it's my philosophy, let's pass the ball into the net. And it's great to see them doing it at times. Like, there was great team goals, all as well. Like, there's some great individual goals, like, but great team goals.
Class. Greg, you talked to us about the midfield combo.
Yeah, well, pretty much. Started the season with yourself and then the likes of G Tom, but unfortunately we lost both youth players. So, come after Christmas, there it was myself, Richard Nelson, David Best, the likes of Dickie and Bestie. You know what you're getting out of them boys. You don't even have to give them a team talk. Don't even have to speak to them. They're the two sort of players that I love playing with. Gives me license to go. As Les said there, I scored, I think, 24 this season. I wouldn't class myself as a midfielder in that team. I'm pretty much playing in behind the forwards. With especially Dickie and Bestie as two holding midfielders, I'd call them. It's great for me. I love it. But before even Wilsey guessed it, and Millsy, with Carsey playing in every line this year.
Yeah.
Carsey pretty much was a standout performer for me all year. I've seen Carsey the last few years, but this year's been very impressive. Again, as I talked about, you don't lay down. Carsey just was up and down from right back, right mid, right wing. Most of the time he was covering myself and Stevie. So just Carsey very good all season. So I'm sure he'll go again next season. Brilliant.
And Wilsey talk to us about or maybe Les, you want to say something about the midfielder? Are you happy with that?
No, happy with that. As Greg's already said, Carsey all over the pitch. The man just doesn't lie down. He goes bright red. He's overheating. You have to get him in for a bit of a rest, and he wants to stay out there. But no, Carsey up and down. Anybody we tried to do that this season, get the right back up and down as often as you can, and just make the back four into the back three. And it's worked. It's worked all season. As Greg says, Dickie and Bestie in the midfield, that was the big difference in the final, especially when we were 3-2 down, push Bestie up in the midfield and give Greg license to get up front there, and quick draw, a brilliant reverse leg tackle on Stuart McQueen, and Greg was quick in it and the score, brought us back into the game. So midfield, never say die attitude, working hard for each other. It's Greg caught up front to cover for him, that's really, really good. And as Greg says, we're getting the pattern of playing here, and they don't need a team talk. I'm just a glorified bench runner these days. They don't need a team talk at all.
I think there's a bit more to it than that. We'll see the defence. You've spoken a wee bit about them, but obviously it's been a pretty tight unit in there as well.
Yeah, I mean, you look at even alone, just adding Godfrey to that from last year, and even the last few years, we've been always fairly competitive and quite close to winning things, and we just for one reason or another haven't been able to quite do that. Adding Godfrey alone to that would be a huge boost, but also adding you and Cruikshank to that, adding, as we've already said, Carso, I think his first game at right back was maybe away to Corinthian in the Junior Cup this year, and he really made that position his own. Throughout the season we had Gavy, obviously goes a bit, he doesn't maybe get all the praise that sometimes he deserves. He distributes the ball exceptionally well still, and he's been doing that for years. Godfrey, you know what you're going to get, and it's a great experience to have. And Carsey there at right back he was up and down, as we already said. And then I sort of tried to do a bit at left back whenever we were there, and we had all sorts of people dropped into the back line at different stages. We had obviously Bestie would have played a bit at the back, predominantly midfield, but he would have played a bit at the back. And we had G Tom would have been able to drop in there too, and we were Johnsey as well joined in a few games as well. I know Paul Morrow played at the back a few times for us, so we had loads and loads of options. We still, I think at the start of the season, we probably still give away some soft enough goals that we'd probably be disappointed with, because the game was probably already won and we give away a goal or two here and there. But as the season wore on, we were a wee bit more robust, and the only thing, we had maybe 4 or 5 games in a row where every short corner we were giving away was nearly turned into a goal against us. We got through that stage, and certainly the defence was strong throughout the season. And as you can see, winning the 2 trophies that we have sort of shows that.
That's a wee word about the goalkeeper.
Yeah, even the defence as well. I want to say we special mention to Johnsey as well. Johnsey quits the training and he comes in there when called upon, and he does not let us down ever. Yeah. Doesn't let us down, and that back four, no matter who it's been, Davy's got the Skides diagonal slap, but he's got the overhead, and we've scored a few goals with Davy's overheads as well. No matter who's played right back, we've pushed them up and down the line, and even talking about Ewan in there at our last match away to Ban Threes, when Greg's already alluded to, we were 1-0 down. We effectively went to Banbridge, played them for 35 minutes and says, tell you what, you boys start 1-0 up. And that's what, that's effectively what we did. Because the first half of that match weren't there. And Ewan played 4 different positions, midfield and defence, in order to release Greg. Spud, I can understand. Spud has decided a lot of times to train with the ones, and I can understand that. He's getting harder shots, more pace on them, probably better and quicker training up there. But Spud, as a keeper, he's come on leaps and bounds for me, and especially his communication skills. He gives it all that, and I like any keeper to do that. He sees everything from the back. Our boys need to list him maybe perhaps a wee bit more, but he's scanning all the time and he lets you know what's happening, and that's what I want my keeper to do. As well as he said, for a while there, every short corner that was hit towards us somehow found his way into the rigging, and we've tried switching somebody else in the post, somebody else go here, and we've tried different runners, but get to the stage every time we get a short corner against us, that's a goal.
You need David Best and me charging out like the hooligans at the start. That was ridiculous. That was bad. That was a bad idea.
Spud always said you're a good runner at
it. I hated every moment.
But just as Les there was filling up, Spud's been very good. We give him plenty of grief about the shots to goals ratio, but he's definitely pulled out some great saves at crucial times. I think there was one in the final when Garvey was 3-2 up or something like that, and it was a great, the boy cut inside and unleashed this thing. It was a great save. He was good for that, and he was, as Les said, he certainly was very good for us this year.
Great stuff. Right, before the good, the bad, the Junior Cup. Greg, you missed it, so we'll go on to somebody who was there. Oh, Raymond, you were there. A memorable occasion. Talk to us about the Junior Cup. Obviously a bit of a disappointment, but maybe next season.
Hopefully next season. Like Les said at the start, this team is building. Last year got close to the league, didn't win it. This year have won the league, which is brilliant. And hopefully we can push on again, continue the form in the league, but also push on in the Irish Junior Cup. This year came up against a Corinthian team who I think on the day we felt like we could have beat them. missing a couple of players. Les doesn't even want to hear this. He's so disappointed he's away. Couple of players missing, but we had a strong enough squad, and we did this season to win any game. And I think we just kind of were a bit inexperienced in certain times of the game. We went 1-0 up.
Yeah.
Went 1-0 up. Was playing very well, and then let in a sloppy goal and another sloppy goal, and didn't really cement any sort of control on the game. We kind of just went a bit gung-ho too early in the match. Me getting sent off twice didn't help things. I mean, terrible umpiring decisions, which everyone I think will agree with. But no, definitely looked very disappointing, especially when Corinthian actually made it all the way to the final. I'm not sure if Garvey and Corinthian are going to manage to get that played out, maybe at the start of next year. But to know that we were narrowly beaten by a team that got to the final sets us in good stead for next year, to know that we are definitely good enough to progress in that competition.
Certainly does. Greg, talk to us about the League Cup final. Or the League Cup run, I suppose, really.
Yeah, well, the League Cup run, I think Garvey beat us 2-1 in the actual group stage of it, but
that was the dead animal routine, that one, Greggy.
That was.
They beat us 2-1.
It was.
Explain to the boys about that.
We're all right.
Schoolboy.
The final was a game, a very young Garvey team, but I've been around the ones where we've played a young Garvey team that have absolutely battered us, so you can't take anything for granted. They're very, very good, very quick. We kind of, first half, we kind of went about things different than what we usually do. I drifted up front, wasn't showing for bestie at right back. We just weren't playing our usual style of game. I don't know if the occasion got to us or not, but again, as I've said throughout the season, we don't lay down, and we just pressed on. We end up Dickie Nelson, actually, I'd say Dickie was the changing point of the game. As soon as he scored, I think that was to make it 3-3, was it?
Yeah.
So as soon as Dickie scored, we weren't losing that game. There was no way we were losing that.
What a strike it was!
As soon as he scored, the confidence was just like an arrow. So
he didn't even celebrate; just turned around and walked out.
He never celebrates anything, Dickie.
No. Some strike.
But that's when I knew Dickie turned straight to the half, and we were on for the win then. But no, great to get the win. Massive support that day from the Cookstown supporters. It was great to have everyone down. It was like being back at a Kirk Cup final. It was great.
Brilliant. So first title that was actually the first title for 12 years for the junior level, the twos. We'll see. Talk to us about the end of the league campaign. Obviously, not the way anybody wanted it to end, but Garvey pushed you the whole way with, I think.
Yeah, there was no doubt that we were probably robbed of. Well, robbed, maybe not the best word, but we were probably a tight league finish was going to happen. There's no two ways about it. We had, maybe a few favourable fixtures. They had to play Banbridge twos twice, and it was going to be whoever blinked first. But I'm just literally looking through our results. I mean, you look at the last, since our goals for in the league since the 18th of January, we scored 8 away, we scored 9 at home, we scored 5 at home, we scored 5 away, 5 away, 10 away, 5 away. I mean, we were scoring goals for fun, and we were really getting into a stride. So, the end of the league, nobody really wanted the league to end like that, and it doesn't feel quite the same as, a last game, win and out and celebrate after. But as I've said before, if somebody had to win the league that way, might as well be us. So, I mean, we were probably the best. I thought we were the best team away. We certainly should have won away to Garvey twos, and the only reason that we're even in this situation is partly because of me, I think, that day, as well as maybe a couple of others. But we should have won that game away, and that would have put it to bed. But it is what it is, and we're delighted to have won the league, to have won the league in that way. And no matter what way it comes, we'll take it.
And Les, I'm just aware of the time here. If you just want to sum up the season for us, double winners, what's to come from Cookstown 2?
This season been brilliant. As Greg's already said, this team is resolute. It doesn't know when it's beaten. Just doesn't know when to give up. We got ourselves into holes, our own faults, but we were able to dig ourselves out of that all the time. before thinking about next season, I just want to mention John and wee Alan are fervent supporters, and Desi as well, you know, and those guys there, you always look out for you, you know, and it's great to see wee Alan getting a medal, and he's got his shirt and he wears his medal every Saturday if we're playing. And the shirt, I think, is a wee bit too big for him, but he'll grow into it, hopefully. Next season, I don't know. There's maybe young players looking to come through. You know, Mark Cuddy. I don't know. Maybe Matty Lindsay would come up training a wee bit more as well. You know, and we're building a squad. Like there's a squad of maybe 19 players that could play in that team, and it's great to see. And just keep coming to training. I don't know what's happening as regards management next season. Even myself, we'll maybe sit down and have a chat about that. But the team is already there. You know, it's a building process, as Millsy said. The Irish Junior Cup has to be the goal. I think Buddy won that twice. I think 81 and 83. Wooler got.
Well, I think we're losing Les there, so I'll just say we've actually lost everybody. So I'll just say thank you for tuning in. That was the Twos, the double championship winning team. Guys,
Gavy, I think it's your internet.
It's my
I think it's your internet, that's it.
We're still here, Gav.
The four of us are grand.
That means your internet.
It's my internet, right? Friggin'. Okay, so you're great. All right, I get it.
Guys, thanks Gavy, and thanks to Les for his coaching, and Richard and Schmuck as well. But thanks to all the boys for all this season. It's been great fun. Shame it's ended the way that it has, but 2 trophies in the bag. We'll certainly not be handing them back in a hurry.
Absolutely right. Right, guys, we'll stop it there. But well done to all involved, and good luck for next season.
Cheers, boys. Good seeing you.